why are you washing your truck?
Acid! We got acid all over it today!
I'm Tony, and this is Laura, and this is our dog, Ginger. We escaped the rat race by investing in real estate and hit the road, traveling to freedom across the United States, visiting friends and family. And today, we're enjoying a wonderful life. Join us on Fulfilled Freedom. We hope to see you soon. And today we're going to talk about our next adventure, which was
At Yellowstone. We went to Yellowstone shortly after we went to the Teton Village, and so now we're in the Yellowstone National Park.
Yep. So we moved from Alpine Campground
Right.
over to
This is
a
Rex
place-
Hale.
Rex Hale. Yep. It's kind of got a desert-y feel to it, but as you can kind of see behind us, though, there's still got mountains and pine trees and whatnot.
That's beautiful. Mountains all around
Yeah.
us.
And it was kind of cool because it was only from here to the entrance to Yellowstone was only 19 miles, so
Yeah.
it didn't take too long to get into Yellowstone, and it was really nice because we kind of beat the crowds. But kind
Yeah.
of like what we talked about last time was, we got up early and we got there, and kind of twofold, not only to beat the crowd, but we got to see a lot more wildlife too.
Yeah.
So
Getting up
that
early
was-
in the morning really helps a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
So.
So the first day we went to the west side of the park, and of course we had to do the first stop first, and then we went to see Old Faithful,
Which was faithful.
which was faithful. the water or the
Geyser.
geyser shot off, on time, and it was beautiful. And so around that area there is a lot of geysers, a lot of active, what do you call them, pools,
Pools.
and holes that, the smoking holes, what do you call them? Anyway, they were all around that area. So there's a nice boardwalk all the way around the park, and you just kept going and going and going, and it ended up being a pretty bit long day hiking around, or not hiking, it was just a walk around this park or this area around Old Faithful to see all the different geysers in the area. And there was a whole bunch of various kinds. And we also saw that one, I think it was called Grand Geyser, that shot off just as we were walking by. And it was pretty nice.
And as always, if you've ever been up to Yellowstone, you know that the sulfur smell is sometimes a lot stronger than others. But that kind of encompassed most of our day, just taking in the whole, Old
Old Faithful area.
Yeah, it really did. And by the time we got through, it was about noon, I think it was.
Yeah.
And so the second time that Old Faithful was going off,
Or it could have been the third time.
yeah, it
because-
could have been, but it was like around 11:30. The place was packed.
Yeah.
It was jam packed. Took quite a while to get out of there, but
Yeah.
so that was pretty
Yeah.
adventuresome.
And then we left that area and attempted to go a little bit more north and see in other places, but the parking lots were just cram-packed. It was
Cram-packed.
too full. By
Yeah.
middle of the day, we couldn't get into the parking lot to stop the car and go see the sights.
Yeah, so to do any trailhead hiking like
Yeah.
we did, prior to that in the Grand Tetons, we got a lot of trail hiking in, because of
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
yep. So then, second day, came back.
Went on the
And-
west side of the park. Well, we took the west road and then drove all the way north to Mammoth Springs. And it was pretty cool. It wasn't as
okay.
impressive as other parts of the park, but it was different. It was a different landscape.
We saw the usual herd of buffalo.
Yeah.
And got to see some of the buffaloes, up close, like you usually do when you're driving through Yellowstone.
Yeah. Huge.
But when we
field.
got up to Mammoth Lake, and it was surprising to see that there was, a private residence there. But there was a small herd. I won't call it a herd. Maybe about a dozen or so of cow elk.
Yeah.
And they were making their call, which was kind of cool. Kind of made me homesick because I do like to go hunting,
and it was like, oh, listen to those cow elks, in the background. But yeah, so we took a walk around that area. It's nice because they did a good job with all of the wooden planking to walk on, and it was still kind of a moderate, hike and whatnot.
There was a lot of stairs to climb up the stairs to get around to the top. But once you got around to the top, you see this beautiful scenery, and you forget about all the aches and pains it took to get up those stairs.
Yep, that's true. That's true. And then on the way back, again, we just would make
we were early
stops.
enough that we stopped at Norris Geyser Basin.
Was that?
Yeah.
That was the second day. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laura wanted to stop there, and we made a couple of their smaller stops. There was an overlook. There was a gentleman, when we stopped by the overlook, he was celebrating his 70th birthday. He was from Alabama, and he had like 3 of these big, huge crows there feeding them, and he wanted us to take his picture and whatnot. And he was a hoot. It was great. Yeah, but we got back to the North Basin, and so we were hiking, I would say, on the north side of it, which was a very open basin.
It was very open.
Yeah,
Lots of
it
pools
was pretty calm. I mean, area and whatnot, and we sat down and did a video. Hey, Laura, where are we?
We're in Yellowstone.
And whereabouts are we at in Yellowstone?
We're in Norris Basin.
Norris Basin, cool, yeah. We spent a couple days here in Yellowstone, and we went over by Old Faithful, and it was faithful.
It did not disappoint.
Did not disappoint, yep. And so, yeah, we've just been driving around Yellowstone, taking in the sights, seeing a lot of animals. We have seen buffalo, and we have seen elk.
And deer.
Well, elk, we've only seen cow elks, no bull elks. Right. Yep. And we've seen some deer and lizards.
We did see a lizard.
Yeah, but we haven't seen any bear yet. We haven't seen any moose.
But
so
we have seen the deer and buffalo and lots of geese. What else?
Yep.
Yeah, that little wolf the fox that went through the road.
And that wasn't a wolf, that was a coyote.
Oh, a coyote.
Yeah,
okay.
that was
limping.
He was
injured. He was injured.
Anyway, we still have a day and a half left to
explore as much as we can.
And maybe we'll find a moose.
There we go.
We keep driving around going here.
Oh, the bear.
Yeah. We keep driving around going here, moosey, moosey, moosey.
And he's not responding yet.
We've been very fortunate. The weather has been really nice. I would say it's probably 75 now, maybe.
Perfect.
A little bit of wind. It's been really nice.
Yep, it has been.
So, shall we hit the trail and keep going?
Let's see what else our adventure brings us.
Yeah. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Took some pictures and whatnot, but then, what did we hear in the background?
We heard a geyser going off, and we could see above the trees there's this huge geyser going off. It's like, oh, we got to go check that out. So we hightailed it up the boardwalk, a whole bunch of steps. Of course, we didn't feel the pain at that time because we were energetic to go see this geyser that was going off.
Came to a couple of rangers, and they said, "Well, this beats Old Faithful any day. This is one of the greater ones. This is
a once in a lifetime event.
You got a quarter mile to hike to go see it. And it's like, oh man, it's going to be over with by the time we get there."
Yeah, they said that this hike or this geyser only goes off once in every 50 years, and sometimes it goes off, once every 4 months. So lately it's been going off, I think they said it once every 4 months, lately, just in the last year. So it's becoming more and more active, but before that it hadn't gone off for 50 years. So they said this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You got to check this out. So of course then we hightailed it even faster.
There. And of course, as you see in the video here that I'm showing you now, that sucker was cranking. I mean, it had just, I don't want to call it explosions, but it was just the force of it. And every once in a while you'd see rocks. Oh, these rocks were probably maybe 2 or 3 inches in diameter, that it would just shoot up into the air. And the amount of mist and steam that it was shooting off was absolutely incredible.
And as close as we got, and even as many people as were there, we were able to get pretty close and see it for a little bit and then back off and let other people, check out the geyser close up as well. But it was just amazing, the mist that you felt in the air. Yeah.
And the sulfur and how strong it was. So then we started walking back, to the camp, to where we were parked, and we saw maybe 2 or 3 or maybe 4 vehicles that some had like regular car tarps on them, like their SUVs, and there was one who
like,
put a
why are
blue
they-
tarp.
Yeah,
And
why
why
are
did they
these
do
covered?
that? Right.
Yeah.
And so we wound up and we got ready to get in the truck. I'm going, honey, look at the overspray that was on the windshield.
Then we realized that it was acidic.
Acidic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, back in the photos that I show you of the geyser going off and some of these photos, it's like you can see where it hadn't gone off for like 50 years. And then it started recently erupting. But you can see that all of the pine trees around it were dead. Well, that's because of the level of acid. And so as you'll see in this next video that we're going to show you, here's a clip of us getting back that day to our camper. And here we are boondocking, and we used a third of the water that we had in our holding tank, because I'm thinking, oh, this acid is going to ruin our paint. And we wonder on the truck. We wonder how many other people even realize that.
Tony, why are you washing your truck?
Acid. We got acid all over it today. Where do we get acid from, Laura?
I gotta turn the camera around. We got acid from the Steamboat Geyser in Yellowstone Park, and it erupts once maybe every 50 years, and we were lucky enough to catch this geyser. But the problem is it sprays acid all over the cars that were in the parking lot, and our car, of course, was in one of them. But this geyser was phenomenal. So anyway, here's Tony washing the car to get all of the acid off of the truck from that geyser.
And we're boondocking. So we're being very conservative on how much water we're using. So, yeah, I mean, it was quite the experience. We come back and we said, well, why do people have their cars covered in the parking lot? And we saw like 4 people that had their cars covered either with a tarp or with something. And then we realized that this geyser went off, and where we were parked, all of the spray from the geyser was coming down on everybody's cars. It's like, oh no, honey, that acid could do a number on our paint job. So when we got back, we figured, okay, let's do this. Let's figure out a way that we can at least get the major part of where it hit, which was really on that other side. And so that's what we did. All right, well, stay tuned to the next adventure with Fulfilled Freedom.
So anyway, and did we see any animals that day?
Oh yeah, that's when we saw that big herd of buffalo.
Big herd of buffalo.
Yeah,
Right.
and
right.
we saw those cow elks.
Yep.
And I did see a
Yep.
deer out in the woods. You didn't get to see that one, but
Yeah.
I saw him.
And then we came back, got up the next morning, and this time we didn't go. We went east on the east side, but we
Right.
didn't go all the way.
Right, we went to Canyon Village.
Canyon Village. Right.
But before you hit Canyon Village, there's trails that you go off, and it goes up to Artist Point, and that's the famous waterfalls that Yellowstone is famous for.
But what was really cool was before that, the herd of buffalo the day before.
Uh-huh.
There's about 3 or 4 people that were stopped and looking out, and I'm going, look at there's something black that's moving.
What is it? What is it? We couldn't figure out what it was, so we
And
stopped.
It was a wolf, and it was out hunting, and we saw it actually literally pounce on something and get something, and we had some kind of cheap binoculars, but we got to see a black wolf out there, and that was really, really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then we made it on up to
Artist Point.
Artist Point, which is the big. It's actually the lower falls of Yosemite. We got to see
No,
that.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. I get them mixed up.
And then it created the Yellowstone Canyon, and they call it the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. And it's just absolutely beautiful. And it's just a little short walk up the little path and up a few stairs to this beautiful platform, that you can see all around the canyon. It was great.
It was awesome. We got some really good pictures.
Yeah.
And you can see in the pictures. I mean, just the usual picturesque, look of the falls and everything.
Yeah.
And then that was really cool. And then we went up to the upper falls.
Yeah.
And
we went on one side and walked along a trail and looked over in the water and watched the waterfall, and it was great. But then we saw that across the way there was some people that was right at the rim of that waterfall. It's like, I want to go over there. So okay, we got to go figure out how to get there. So we drove around, found the road, and went to that trail.
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't very far off the road. We stopped and hiked on down to where this edge was and overlooked the waterfall. It was amazing.
But kind of as like a little geography lesson. This is what was really cool is to understand that Yellowstone Lake feeds into Yellowstone River that creates and goes to those falls. And I mean, that river is massive, and the speed of what that water, and we got some video of that just in the upper falls of that water flowing. It's like, man, I wouldn't want to get caught in that current. No way. No way. But so then we went up a little bit further it was on the North Rim, and we went up to the North Rim, and there's a bunch of people, and lo and behold, there were 2 bull elk there. I think some of the people were way too close.
But of course,
pictures.
we had to stop and get our pictures too.
Even though we're used to it, but still, they were in velvet, and then one was laying underneath a tree, shading. The other one was out, and it was a 7-point. It wasn't really a royal elk, but it was still not 7.
Big.
It was a 6-point. Yeah. But it was still pretty awesome. Yep.
Yeah, and then since we had our truck parked there, we thought, well, we'll just hike on down to where the other falls were. You could get to the bottom part of the falls. So we started taking the trail, and it went on and on and on, much longer than we anticipated. But it was good. It was good that we were out and going on this hike. It was hike through the woods, and walked down to the lower part where you could see it from the bottom up. And it was just incredible views. But then we had to climb it back up. Yeah. That was a trip going back to the truck because it was all up and it was all good. And by the time we got to the truck, it was fine.
It's time to come back. Yep.
Time to come back.
Come back and kind of relax and rest and whatnot. So hey everybody, this is Ginger, and she is our 7-month-old golden retriever puppy. And she travels with us full time, obviously. And she's been, we're very blessed. She's a wonderful dog, but
she's 7 months old.
7 months old, and but she couldn't go into the national parks, so we did have to leave her in the camper, and we do have Gobi to help monitor the temperatures and whatnot and the humidity inside. And we were fortunate because the first campground we were in, it was very shaded. And it was good. Yeah. When we got to the second one out here, it was a little bit, obviously pretty much in the open, but we were fortunate because it was cooler, but we did have no Wi-Fi.
In the 70s.
And so we made certain that,
so the Gobi didn't work.
The Gobi didn't work. So we made certain that we had lots of windows open. It got about 84 inside the camper, plenty of water for her. She was she was a trooper. She did really, really good. So this is Ginger. Anyway, hey, so that's our Fulfilled Freedom Adventures, and so far, we hope you've enjoyed them. Be sure to hit the subscribe button
and the notification bell,
and make sure to give us a thumbs up for a like, and we'll
see you on the next adventure.
As we were coming up to that location where there was the herd of elephants, elephants. And whereabouts in Yellowstone National Park?
This is Norris Bison.
Norris Bison.
There's a basin. Basin.
Norris Basin.
Norris Basin.
Okay, we
The
start
Bison
over.
is up on the hill.